Welcome to the Model Car Hobby Headquarters Unpodcast with your host, Luca C. Now here he is, Luca C. Well, hello, my fellow car maulers. How you doing today? Tonight, I got a very special guest. It's very special for me because this is a very old friend of mine. You may, if you pay attention to little details in my past videos, every once in a while I talk about my old boss. I'm just kind of a rebel and I don't follow anybody's instructions. Just ask any of my ex-bosses. This is him, my old boss. It's Dennis Smith from Virginia.
That's me over here.
That's the boss.
That's right. The boss.
You'll see this little, I'll put it right here. This little picture.
It's over there.
You're in the Lamborghini right there?
Yeah, the Lambo.
That's my buddy Dennis. Dennis and I go way back. Big model car. When I lived in Virginia, we rolled everywhere together, man. We were just constantly going to shows and just had a blast. It was nuts.
We were wide open with our hair on fire.
Wide open with the hair on fire.
You're just still burning off, huh?
Yeah. All the crazy stories we get into. Yeah, we didn't need no drugs and alcohol. We were all right.
We didn't need none of that.
Lying, man. In your old Cordoba with that 70.
Old Cordoba, yeah.
But
Ricardo was his name, remember?
What was that?
Ricardo.
Ricardo, yeah.
Ricardo.
Oh, yeah, we did have that blue Corinthian leather. Yeah, that thing was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good car.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, so the thing is what I got Dennis on, first of all, he's my model buddy, my pal. I want to have them on, all my pals on, but he is the president of the Roanoke Valley IPMS chapter, and they put on, or he is the organizer of a really great show that was even going on back when I lived there. Dennis and I were we were
the Roadrunner down there one time.
Yeah, we drove my old Roadrunner down there, and we were judging it, and we got pulled over by a cop too, or a trooper, because we were taking Metallica and this orange Roadrunner, and I was going a little bit too fast because we needed to get down there because we were the judges, and I didn't get a ticket either. But yeah, so it's the MDA Model Show. It's the first weekend of March every year.
First full weekend of March every year. First full weekend. Sometimes it goes forward, some backwards.
Because there's like a regular car show going on, the MDA car show.
Yeah, all weekend long.
So he puts on the model show. And like we said, man, the model show's been going on forever. Yeah. We used to go to it, and it was a fun show then. Yeah. And I want to have him on, talk about that, and just talk about old times and talk about models and talk about him. I mean, he's done some pretty cool models over the years, man. We'll be showing them.
Insane.
Yeah. But you can tell I'm pretty
the New York days.
We just had some really good times in the past, and this is neat with modern technology. We can do stuff like this. So, Dennis.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to hand it over to you because nobody wants to listen to me.
Nobody wants to listen to you too much.
No, I'm going to
throw it over to you. You lost your New York accent that you left.
We could put it back on if we.
Hey,
you know, he's a Southern boy, but when we worked together in this shop down in Fairlawn, Virginia, we were like the shop that took care of everybody's vehicles in the county.
Right.
We were right there on the corner, and yeah, him and we just had this shtick that we were just always talking like New Yorkers. And even where I came from in New York, we didn't talk like that. And I was mostly, I was from Arizona, and he's a Southern boy yet.
Well, see, I had my stint in New York because I lived up there after I got out of high school. At 18, I took off and loaded up the.
Yeah, because you would always be over in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I got another story to tell you about that. It's not model related, about Joey Buttafuoco and.
Please don't you go down that road with the Joey Buttafuoco.
No, it's you've heard of the two separations of Kevin Bacon and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is not model related, but it's a funny story.
It's okay. Throw it out there. We'll have fun.
But I used to work next to a guy named Vinny Riccobono. He moved down from Long Island.
Long Island,
yeah. And he was getting rid of a boat, a little walk-through windshield boat that Cheryl and I bought. And he not only did he sell me a boat, but he sold Joey Buttafuoco over here a boat. So I have that connection with Joey Buttafuoco that I bought a boat.
Come on, man.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, because
it's great. Yeah.
So Joey Buttafuoco over here. Joey
I don't even know
Buttafuoco
what.
over here.
Yeah, I never got to meet him, you know. But then he told me, yeah, he used to come in the shop all the time. He had a Sunoco out on Long Island.
Yeah.
So that's a funny story.
Over here. Yeah.
But yeah.
But
we skipped out this year. We had to skip out the 2021 because of COVID. We got the MDA show in just a week before they shut down everything. And but it's a good show. I took it over from Tom Allison. Tom Allison was on the car show committee back in I think it was 2006 or 2007. Tom wanted to step back from it. He had some disagreements with a lot of the people in the committee and stuff like that. So I took it over, and we had it up in the atrium like thing. It was like where you first go into the Civic Center. And then we started getting a couple of, vendors in. We started out with 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. And then the Roanoke Civic Center didn't buy it, but they built the special event center on the back of the Civic Center, which that opened up the show to a whole big, we could probably get full-size cars in there, probably about another 80 or 75 cars in that building alone, along with the Coliseum. So that opened up the downstairs where they used to have cars, displayed there. That was given to me by the model for the model show. So over the years, I saw, we spread it out because it was in one small little room. You remember that when we went down there. It was just in a little room off to the side.
Yeah, I remember.
But, last year's show, we had, I think about 45 tables, and then we had plenty of room for the models and, a couple of clubs display. I have one guy that comes out of Rocky Mount, Virginia. All he wants to do is he brings about 50 cars, different cars every year that he's put together. He doesn't really detail them all real, heavily and anything like that, but he just likes to set his models on the display table and talk about them all day. The people come by and talk to him and stuff. He has a blast. But last year was the first time we had a raffle. We had a raffle with a bunch of good stuff and good turnout of models, and had some cool things that I picked up at the races. Being next to VIR, we got a poster of the Porsche, the team that won the Porsche. Well, they didn't win the Porsche. They were the Porsche team that won the championship, and had all the 4 drivers sign it, and that was one that we raffled off and stuff like that, and a couple other things, and some Snap-on goods and stuff. But the shows, it's steadied out because I think the biggest problem we have with that show is the Civic Center is landlocked, and parking is a problem. And I usually try to tell everybody that brings models in to get there early so you can get a parking spot, so you don't have to carry them a long distance and stuff like that. But last year, this last year, we had probably around 250 cars and another 100 cars on display.
Oh wow!
The best year that we had over 500 cars, and I was running around like crazy trying to get everything judged that one year. And I don't know, it's tapered off a little bit since then, but it's still a good steady. A lot of people travel out of town from out of state and stuff like that. Then you have all the locals that usually come and participate in the show. It used to be back when we first started out, it was all weekend long. Friday, you take models in Friday and Saturday, and they judged on Sunday. But most model car contests and stuff like that, if you want to attract people from other states, we just did it a one-day show. Some people didn't like it, but most people, it was good for the whole show. So, and like I said, the model car contest is one day only, Saturday, so people that do travel from out of town can get back home on Sunday and stuff like that. So
yeah,
but we've had a real good. I mean, you were part of the model club out here, Ridge Runners, for years, and it's funny because almost all those guys that are still alive still come out and help out judge, and one of them announces the winners for me because he has a big voice. And Tom's there. Tom comes back, and then
oh cool.
Yeah, Tom, and a lot of the guys who were in the model car club that we had back in the 80s and early 90s, they come back and help out. And some of them a couple of them have gone back they got out of modeling, then they got back into it and brought some stuff. And
that's awesome. Yeah, every time we've talked, you told me about, everybody's still kind of
yeah,
around.
it's funny.
That's awesome because
well, it's funny because like one of the guys, I hadn't seen him in probably 25 years, and he shows up. He says, "Hey, you know who I am?" But I recognized him, but I couldn't remember his name. Now I forgot his name. I'll think of it in a minute. It's old age, but anyway.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people. At one time we had people from 9 different states.
Really?
Yeah, it was really big at one time, as far as that one show. And we still, from time to time, like a couple of years ago, we had a couple come. They said they traveled. He called me up and said, "Well, we travel to at least a different show every year, so we'd like to come to your show." So they came down from Canada, won some awards and won Cappy. So it's been a good show. It's been a real good show. People look forward to it. The locals really look forward to it. But like I said, we've had people travel from all over. It's a lot of fun. It's still a judged event. A lot of people say, "Well, why don't you make it an NNL or something like that?" And I said, "Well, we'll just keep it a judged event." We have 25.
If you're able to handle it, that's a lot of work. I know, but
it's a lot of work, and getting the trophies, and the plaques and stuff. But George Henry builds hot rods down in Mooresville, North Carolina, and he usually does me up a nice metal trophy and stuff, and I'll take it and get it pinstriped by David Richards, who sets up at the show. He's our local pinstriper and stuff like that. He does real good. He'll do some special awards and stuff, and basically, I think we have about 27 categories all spread out. Sometimes we'll adjust them and make changes, and as things change, you still got the Pro Street and Glamour. We not really the same kind of cars and everything like that, but we've combined the slammers with the curbside, which that's probably one of the most controversial things that we get into, something like that. But I try to run a good show, a tight show, and there for several years I didn't realize it, and it's good to have input from guys and people, because I'm always asking people, what do you see about the show that needs to be changed? What do you see about stuff that needs to be done? And I never got it, get a feedback once in a while, but I had some guys mention some stuff on one of the, I guess it was the NASCAR message board.
Oh, the Randy Ayers.
Randy Ayers, yeah, that's it, Randy Ayers. Anyway, there was some stuff on there, and Mark Agee, our old bud Mark, said, "Well, you're not going to get the NASCAR guys that build NASCARs because this one guy keeps winning every year." I said, "Really?" I said, I take the book, because in our show, if you've won first place with a model, it's not eligible for placement again. And if you enter and you win first place, you can put it in. Yeah, you can put it in
later
display, but you can't enter it in the class again.
Well, that should be that way. It should always be that way. You should.
And what happened was, this guy slipped by me a couple of years, and I really should have seen it, because I saw him come in with the same models. And actually, a guy from South Carolina, he was telling me, you need to really do something about that now. So I made it prominent on the website and on the flyers that past winners are not eligible to compete. You're welcome to go on display table. So I did that. He did that another year. He came and brought him in, and I had to tell the judges to disregard this. I'm not going to move it off the table. I'm just not going to judge it. You bypass it. And it took him 2 years before he never showed up again. So that's been about 3 or 4 years ago.
That's kind of
it's one of those things.
Kind of a slimy thing, actually, to do.
And a couple of times I've missed a few details on box stock, but and I try to. You say, if you're going to put in box stock, you need to have the instructions book. Of course, that's per IPMS rules and stuff like that. And I've been laxed on stuff like that, but I try to be pretty diplomatic when I'm doing stuff, moving cars around. If on the registration, if you don't want a car picked up, which Tom has a hard time of not doing. He likes picking up cars, and even with there's a little box that you can check on the entry form on the table. And if you don't want it picked up, we won't pick it up. So, but it's evolved and it's done well over the years, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work.
That's the thing that a lot of that's why, you know, lately I've been having people who put on model shows, like talking to Joe last week of doing the Vegas show. The amount of work, no matter, like, there was a big show, you're doing a little bit smaller show, but it's still, the work is just intense.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
It's like we were talking last night, and you were saying, well, I got to get kicking in. You think it's months away, but
it's 6 months away. Yeah, it'll be here before you know it. And I'm way behind right now because I've kind of gotten relaxed. But and plus, you know, being the president of the IPMS club, we've missed out. We were supposed to have had a 2-day regional show last year, and we missed out on that. So we're going back to a 1-day show next year, 22, and that's 70 some categories, and that's a lot of work too.
Yeah,
so. And we have we've had really good shows over the years with the Roanoke Valley IPMS and stuff. And we've actually moved it from the Roanoke Civic Center with Berglund Center now to Salem Civic Center because it's much easier. They're much more easier to deal with and as far as putting on the show. So Roanoke Valley goes to Salem to put on a show. So
yeah.
But we got a good group of guys that help out. Like I said, they also set up a club table at the MDA show, and they help out with judging whatever need. Unfortunately, we lost one of our fellas at one of the main support group, or one of the main supports of our club, Bob Rohrbeck. He passed away from cancer here a few months ago. So always there to sponsor. Matter of fact, his name is on the MDA website. He's always sponsored, you know, classes. He's always been there, and he's typically a ship and aircraft modeler, but he does do a lot. He's did a lot with fire engines and stuff like that. He likes fire engines and stuff and some cars, not a lot of cars, but he's always there to support the show. And you know, it's sad to the people that we've lost over the years. You know,
yeah,
just this last couple of years, really.
Yeah. You know, this whole we're getting older. It's happening.
We're getting older, yeah, too. Some had existing problems
and things, yeah.
So, and I'm getting my problems now that I'm getting close to 60. So
yeah, yeah. You and I had our old man talk last night.
Yeah, old man talk. Yeah,
our aches and our pains.
Yeah,
what the heck, man?
Yeah, you're looking at something. Yeah, what the heck I got to do now?
Talk about, you know, when we were hanging out, what the heck we were doing.
Yeah,
and I got to say this. I mentioned this to Dennis last night, and Dennis had this little thing he used to say to me, because I'd always cry and moan back in the early 90s of how much cooler it was back in, you know, the 60s and 70s and the cars and all that stuff. And he go, right now we're living in the good old days.
That's right.
Now, yeah, you're right. You know, that has stuck with me through the years. Dennis said, these are the good old days.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, these are the good old days, and one day these will be the good old days.
Yeah, that's it. These will be the good old days. I mean, my hobby's wide open. I guess a lot of, you know,
it is
the price of kits. I mean, I'm not talking about the kit, new kits. I'm talking about what I've watched. Of course, you've got all these auction sites jumped up on YouTube and stuff like that, or not YouTube, but Facebook.
Facebook, yeah.
But the prices, I mean, there's a whole new group of guys that are a lot younger than me and you that are getting into it and buying the old kits, and they're paying top dollar. I mean, money that I would have never thought you could get for stuff. So.
Oh, I know. And they're itching for it. Well, you know, it's kind of like the whole NASCAR thing. And I remember I speaking to Jim from Salvino's JR about this.
Yeah.
Around the time, like when they were first coming out and NASCAR was really kind of dead. And I had heard, he had told me before they started coming out with their monogram ones that they had bought all the molds, and that was great. And did they say they were saviors? They saved those molds. Those molds were going to get melted down. But I was thinking to myself that this was going to be a big fail on them, because in our world, the way it's been for us, I mean, you know, these are my street cars, but if you could see this wall over here, I have a wall of monogrammed NASCARs.
Yeah.
I have plenty, and most of us, we just bought them all up. We had plenty, and then for a while, you couldn't sell them. I mean, you couldn't even sell them.
You couldn't sell them in the South. You know, Alan Hilton puts on a great show down in Salisbury, and I think one year I was down there. It's always in February, and one year I went down there. There was a guy with a whole table full of NASCARs. I mean, they're sealed and stuff. Trying to get by the time if you buy them by the lot, you know, you sell them for like $3 a piece.
Yeah, so they were going
especially in the South.
They were going for nothing, and then you know, you're starting to see them dry up a bit, but then, you know, Salvino's was getting ready to reissue all these, and, you know, they're going to be at, you know, modern retail prices. And I was thinking it wouldn't happen, but right before they started selling it, I started noticing there was a younger group of guys that wanted to build 80s NASCARs. And someone would say, I have been looking all over for a 83-ish Buick, you know, like Bobby Ellison's Buick stock car. I want to build that, and I can't find it. And I'm looking at, I got 3 of them up that I will not sell, by the way, because you know, I want to build them. And I thought to myself, you know, now's the time. They bring those out. Now there was a whole group of guys, because to me, in my mind, we all had bought them up. We got them all. What do we need any more for? Everybody's got them. Well, no, there's a whole young generation that wasn't around when we were buying them up for $3. Yeah,
that's true.
They want to build those old cars. So it sure proved, boy, they sell out of them.
Well, you know, with all the new noses and stuff, and plus doing like Pontiac 2+2 that they did, you know, that saved, you know, those resin kits were hard. I mean, you can make one look good, but you had to work hard at it. You know, you carried one around for years, and I've got a nose piece, and I think it's one of those old J&J kits that you have to graft the nose onto the front.
Yeah, and a lot of work.
But yeah, you know, with Salvino's in there changing the front ends, just like when you're talking about the grills on the front, and doing some of these other cars like that Le Mans and stuff. That's, you know, that's when the cars were still real sheet metal cars, is what I call them.
Yeah,
they were more desirable stuff.
They look like they
look like a car that you could see, but they were, I think they're much cooler. But I kind of got out because, you know, back in the 80s, I used to go there for a couple of years in a row. I went to 10 races each year. I remember going to 4 races in a row, like each weekend, when they made like a run through Charlotte, Bristol, and North Wilkesboro.
Yeah. And, heck, we weren't doing too bad, you and I, in 92 and 93.
Was that 92 when Darrell Waltrip won?
92 and 93, yeah.
When we went up there after work.
Like, yeah, well, okay. Bristol night race. We're working. It's like, dude, we should just roll. Let's just.
We're working on a Saturday because it was the August night race.
It was a Saturday night race. And it's like, you know, and
we closed up the shop at 2:00.
Yeah, we closed it early. And we headed in my 76 Ford Elite down the freeway, and we figured we'll get there, we'll hang out, we'll shop. And I said, let's do this. This is the plan. All the scalpers were out there. We won't even talk to those guys until we say, here, gentlemen, start your engines. Once those cars fire up, the prices will drop.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, we got that one they were about to leave, and you were talking them down. I got the tickets for $10.
Well, I think the tickets were like $50. He wanted $50. He
said,
yeah, good tickets. They said $20. I'll give you $20. And then we walk away from them, and they're walking away, and I look around and said, I just stuck up my 2-finger hand, $20. And the guy came up and he said, no, I got to get more. I said, look out here. There was no one out there. It's almost like the whole place just deserted. Yeah. And I said, who are you going to sell them to? He said, give me the $20. So I gave him $20.
Yeah, he was.
I remember that because the trouble was they were different. We didn't have seats together.
Well, but you know what I remember about that is he was like on purpose, spiteful. He wouldn't give us tickets that were together. He had tickets together. He
I didn't really care.
You're getting this.
We didn't really care.
And we didn't care. We went and sat up when they had that grassy knoll. You know,
we did the grassy knoll, that one little grassy
knoll out of turn 4. We screamed and hollered.
No, old Matt sitting there. We're sitting there on the grassy knoll there, the only little grass spot in the whole Coliseum before they
Yeah.
finally rid it out. We're sitting there, and Darrell Walter, who is Matt's hero, was winning the race. And after Walter went across the finish line, Matt's all I see is this big dirt clod rolling down the hill. He's like all excited.
I was so
Oh
happy.
God, I never laughed so hard in my life.
I know. Out of the blue, going to like the race I always wanted to go see. The Bristol Night Race was always my favorite.
That was probably
win.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a good time.
Wasn't that the first time they had this right after they concreted that whole track?
It was the first concrete. Yeah, it was. That was the thing. It was all sketchy about that race. We missed like the first 10 laps.
That's about it. That's all.
Yeah, that was about it. We got in there. I remember, man, that was a ball.
Well, that's what I used to do. A lot of times I'd work Saturdays, back in the early 80s, middle 80s, and I would get off at work and I would just go down, stop, get a hotel room, go onto the track, watch the race. I went many times by myself and then just go back to the hotel room after the race was over and get the hotel room and go to sleep and get up in the morning and cruise on home.
And then I come out there and then you and I started doing that stuff like that time. I think that was a last minute. What the heck? Let's roll down to Wilkesboro. So we go to North Wilkesboro to watch the race. And remember, we run into Tim Flock selling tickets for sure.
Oh yeah, Tim Flock.
We said,
were you with me that time? Mark Oswald was sitting in front of us.
And Mark Oswald was sitting next.
Oswald, who was the
funny car driver.
Funny car driver.
Yeah, he was sitting there
in the cheap seats.
And he was even wearing like a Candies and Hughes shirt.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the thing.
I thought that was great.
Hey, Mark Oswald.
Yeah, and we were sitting in the cheap seats on the backside.
It was the cheap. That's right. It was the cheap seats, the concrete art on the backstrap. There's Mark Oswald, and we sat there and chewed the fat with talking about the old NASCAR days with Tim Flock.
Tim Flock.
And we bought tickets to, I think it was the Winston.
Probably, yeah.
The 90, I think was it the 93 Winston?
I think so. Those 90s kind of run together. Yeah, that was, and then it didn't go to race for a long time after a lot of things changed.
When I moved back here in 94, I went to one cup race in 98 only because I was a service manager at a shop and Belford gave me the tickets.
Yeah.
I didn't even really go up in the stands much. I just went there, did some shopping, and I headed on out. That's the last time I haven't been to a cup race since those days.
I guess it's been about 6 or 7 years ago. I went. I had
really?
Tickets. Went down to Charlotte for one. I can't remember. Maybe it was October because you used to be able to know when all the races were, and they've got them all switched around now. But it was good to go. I mean, there's nothing like being there on that first, when they first go across the start finish line, you hear them coming. Yeah, there's nothing like that.
But coming back to Phoenix, and I used to go to the Phoenix race when they first started racing here. Oh, it was, great. Oh, finally getting to go see some Winston Cup races.
Yeah.
Go into the heart of NASCAR country, and then we're going to Charlotte, Wilkesboro, Martinsville.
Yeah.
You and I rolled up to Dover one time. So after doing all those races, I come back here. What's the point? There's no point anymore. Yeah. And at that point in time, I was losing my interest in NASCAR. I didn't like the direction the cars were going.
Yeah, I didn't much either. I mean, I really got. Of course, I never was out of drag racing. I always loved drag racing.
Yeah. We also did that share of that. We went to Bristol for drag.
Yeah. Bristol drag race, of course, it's a whole new place. Since you've been out here.
Because I got to go to the old Bristol drag race.
Actually, we're going to Charlotte this weekend to see.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Not the 4 wide,
four lane, four wide.
And then the next weekend we're going to VIR to watch the Trans Am series. So,
see, that's cool.
I'll try to get some pictures and stuff of that. But I love going to VIR. It's just
I
like we take our van and we sit in the back of it and watch, and then we'll get in the van and roll around to another part of the track and watch it, going into the pits and everything. It's great.
That's cool. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, there's
But
just
that's the kick I'm on now is the GT3, GT4 cars. You know, they can't make enough of those things. I swear, and they're
oh
expensive.
yeah, yeah. I tell you,
I love
have you
I love
built
them.
have you built the Tamiya GT4 Mustang?
No, I've got one. I bought one.
Oh,
And,
good, you do have one.
yeah, but beautiful kits. I watched your build and stuff like that, and all those. I mean, all
Beautiful.
the old Fujimi kits and stuff like that I bought. The Oshima, you know, a lot of the
Yeah,
old McLarens and
yeah, I love them.
great kits. I love those things. But boy, you're going to spend $200 every time you buy the kit, the set of decals that you want, and the photo etch and stuff. But and I've bought some, you know, found some good deals on some stuff. One guy was selling a lot of his collection on eBay, and I ended up getting a few of the old. There was Simil R. It's a French company that made the GT,
Yeah,
old GT,
yeah.
not the new GT, but the one before that. They had several race versions. I guess they went bankrupt, but they're going for like 150 a piece now.
Oh, yeah.
But they're beautiful kits. Yeah, that's still into the muscle cars and all that stuff. I have to get one of just about everything. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's a big, I'm more
Especially,
of a collector now than a builder. I've got a
yeah.
couple, I've got about 15 started, but
I don't collect any models. Not at
that's
all.
just wallpaper, right?
I'm not, I just build a model here and I buy a model and I build it and I don't collect it all.
Don't collect it all. It's just wallpaper. It's just a picture.
Yeah, don't never
Yeah,
mind
that's right.
this. I don't collect.
Now, how about the? I was impressed on your model Car Mafia. That's a rehash from another club, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You had a good turnout at your house.
Oh man, I tell you, yeah, Model Car Mafia. Well, we originated it back in 2008. It was just a group of guys. We broke off from the club. There was a disagreement, and we just decided no politics, no nothing, no egos, and we just got together once a month, and we actually just did a build session. We hung out and we BS and had a lunch together and brought our cars to work on, but most of the time we just sat around the table and talked models.
Yeah, that happens.
Slowly, people dropped off and it ended up really just being the three main guys was Old Man Dave that you saw in the video, who he was so dedicated back then he tatted himself with the logo, and then there was Frank, my friend who passed away, and me. And Frank even had it. I was going to go get a tattoo and I never did, so now I have to now. But Frank had one, and it was just us three. And then we kind of took a break from it. And in that time, that's when Frank passed away. So the Model Car Mafia was always, it's like Dave and I would always talk, and it was always there. So I had the Facebook group that Frank and I started years ago.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Dave doesn't do anything on the internet. And then I just started kind of rallying people. Hey, let's start a new club. Let's start a new club. I said, well, I got this Facebook group. Just that it was a place for us to gather, talk about it, get it figured out, and figure out, a date. And everybody voted. They liked that Model Car Mafia thing, so they just voted it in. I had my old patches. There it was. Bob's your uncle.
There you go.
Yeah, the club it's the neatest thing. It's got me so happy. It's just nice to have a bunch of new and a lot of old model car friends gather.
Well, you probably, with the internet and everything, people that are close by, they realize that, there's other people like that.
Yeah.
So you do get together. There's a lot. Somebody's buying all these models. Of course,
well, exactly.
They built so I go into Hobby Lobby and they're the
models are selling. Somebody's buying models.
Yeah, somebody's buying them.
You can always. It's like my buddy Matthew down there, and he's deep down in Georgia, there in the middle of nowhere, and he's trying to find some people. But him and I talked. He was, from model car videos.
Yeah. I watched him. Yeah, he took a hard time.
Word out. He thought, I nobody's contacting me. He was just. He says. I said, but you're not the only one buying the kits at Hobby Lobby, right? No. Well, there's somebody buying model cars.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's hard to have time to sit and build something, much less get out with somebody else other than your family and everything that goes on with work. I work 10-hour days, and a lot of times I don't feel like going to the meetings myself, but I have to since I'm the president.
Yeah.
That's, it's a half hour. I got to go to Roanoke, so it's a half hour away living in Christiansburg. But
Oh boy, yeah.
it's not too bad. I mean, it's only once a month, and they do have 2 meetings a month. The build
It's
meeting.
cool that you're still dedicated to it, though.
Yeah, I kind of got roped into it a little bit, but I was president one time before, and I'm.
Yeah, that's right. I knew you were president a while back.
We had a good thing. I mean, we were vying for chapter of the year, for the IPMS USA and stuff. I kind of got burnt out of that. So, but because they had the IPMS national convention down at Virginia Beach years ago, and we were vying for that. We had a bunch of stuff going on, had a nice presentation and stuff, and then they gave it to Philippines. I said, Philippines? That's not that's not hobby. That's not an IPMS USA, is it?
Wait a second.
I guess it's a U.S. territory, so
Okay. All right.
No, your buddy. I got something I got to show you, and it's hopefully your buddy from. Well, I watched his videos, but anyway, he didn't know who Ed Roth was. I don't even think you've seen it.
Oh, Matthew. Oh, the Ed Roth thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to show you something I got back when I was in New York in '86, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've told you this story before. I was in New York taking care of my aunt and uncle's cats. That's a big job because they had 36 cats at one time. We went to Puerto Rico. Anyway, I'm riding around. I took my Cordova to there and riding around, and I'm here on the radio at the Javits Center. The Jacob Javits Center had just been built, and they were going to have the New York Rod and Custom Show. And Ed Big Daddy Roth was going to be there only on Saturday. So where was my butt? Planted right there at the door when that other place opened up.
Yeah.
He didn't get there. He didn't get there at about 12 o'clock. And that day he did actual 6 shirts that he airbrushed. And I sat there and waited in line to get it. Of course, you're going to get it. A lot of guys were getting their cars done, and wanted to do their cars. And I said, well, I wanted something that he had built. So he did a Beatnik Bandit with a little police car behind it. And he did it all in the airbrush, all hand done.
Oh, yeah.
He said, oh, come back. It's going to be probably about 8 o'clock before I get done with this. And I said, that's fine. I don't care. I'll get it. I'll take it. I wish. And Sid with me didn't have a camera or anything like that. I bought a couple of his books and, what happened to the Beatnik Bandit and all this stuff like that. And it was cool. When I got the shirt, he charged me $20, $20 for the shirt.
Wow.
I shook his hand. He had one of these big burly hands. You can imagine how, big and rough it was. Boy, I tell you what, that was a trick. But I'll show it. This is an original. Wife's shirt, she had it put into a frame.
Oh.
But I don't know how well you can see it with the reflection.
I can see a reflection of my face in there, but yeah.
Turn
it. There we go. They're perfect.
It's got the Beatnik Bandit flag, got a signature on it. I think it is 1986.
Yeah, I remember you showing that to me.
Did I? Yeah.
It looks familiar. I remember that. That is so cool. You still have that.
Well, it was wadded up. I never wore it, never washed it. It still has this pencil mark where he put the pencil.
Well, let me tell you something about Matthew. He knows who Ed Roth is now.
He does know who Ed Roth is.
He knows. He has been schooled.
I think it's funny, I
loved how he took it too.
It's the internet tough guys give him a hard time.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, we'll have fun with him. He's going to be a model car show virgin there with us at
Atlanta,
Acme there in Atlanta. Man, we'll have to have fun with that.
That's a great show, man. I'll tell you what, it's a great show. I love it.
Boy, everybody seems to be going to be there, man. That's going to be a fun one. I was actually even kind of wink, nudging Scotty on the phone.
Scotty, yeah, he could travel to it. Well, actually, I like to talk Mark Agee.
Really?
Well, like I said, Mark Agee, doing it with HD Cap, he's always wanted to go, and I'm surprised he never went. But,
he's never gone.
He's never been to it. It's always been something that happened in his life that he couldn't make it.
He'll
probably make it this year, I'm sure.
That would be great, man. I would love to see Mark. Yeah, that was that. I'm so excited about it. I'm so glad, got my tickets, got everything arranged, and just I can't back out of it now. So
No, you're stuck. You'll be a big zero if you don't show up.
no, I'd be absolute lose air if I.
Yeah,
but
you will enjoy it because it's a great group of guys down there at Atlanta.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun that night. I'm looking forward to the night before over at the hotel.
Yeah, that's
getting in early.
that's the first last year. The last year I went to, or the last one they had was the first time I had gone to the host hotel. We left on Friday to get down there. We actually stayed at the host hotel, and I didn't really know a whole lot of people. I knew Bob Downey and stuff like that. I knew a few others, but so when I was talking about Rob Smorley, when
oh yeah,
I used to live out in Arizona. I said, well, you might know my old buddy Lucas E. And,
oh yeah.
he said, yeah, small world. I said, yeah, he used to work.
I hope he's there. That would be so cool if he's there.
He had a well, he's phenomenal modeler. I mean, he had
amazing modeler. I mean, he was amazing. I met him in '89, and man, he was fantastic. He was one of them Southern California modelers that just did work. I mean, well, you guys have seen his stuff on the cover.
Oh, he got. I think he ended up with a theme award for a Miller car that he did, the Oldsmobile, and then he got several awards down there in Atlanta. It's first time down there. He said, I didn't really know what to expect, but I said, you'll have a good time.
I don't doubt that at all. You're going to see a lot of old friends and meet a lot of new friends. I'm looking forward to it. It's just going to be.
It's a blast.
And it's always. I think I'm going to go every year. And, haven't said it on this video yet, but I told you I am coming to the MDA show. I'm rolling.
Good. We'll have a big show. We'll have a big.
Yeah. You're gonna have to put me up for a week because I'm coming for a week and bothering you.
Right,
a long week, let me tell you. I got a lot of things I want to do.
Travel, yeah. Okay.
I just dying to see everybody. I haven't been there since '94.
Yeah.
And I just want to see everybody and see all the old places, and it's. A
lot of stuff's changed, but a lot of stuff, still got the,
Well, I feel like I'm going back to my hometown in a way,
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna be on. It reminds me of that time before I moved there when I went and spent a week with Mark, and then when I met you.
Yeah.
Gave me the job, said you come out here, you got a job. And that week was just like when I came back to Phoenix, I was here for 3 or 4 more months. And then I got moved over there, and I just didn't want to be here. I couldn't wait to get back there. And I know that's what's going to happen. I'm going to go there and I'm going to be saying, okay, Denise, we're putting the house up for sale. She was just.
Well, you said you always wanted to move to Mount Airy. So
what's that?
I said you always said you wanted to move to Mount Airy.
Oh God.
Mayberry. So.
Yeah, no kidding. Quite possible, man. I always said that might be where I retire.
That's not too bad.
I'm gonna retire, but yeah,
it's good. It's pretty good around here. It's easy. It's easy to get to other places too. Like
Yeah, it is.
It's not. It's about the same distance to go to Atlanta, so you have to go to NNL East. I went to that a couple of times. That's a good show.
Yeah, I'd like to. I've always wanted to do the NNL East.
It's a different group of guys, but and it's a lot of fun though. But I've been a couple times, and of course, there's a whole different. They're different shows, totally different shows.
Yeah,
they're both great in their own aspects,
but everything that I've ever heard, and like Frank went to the Acme show, and it just seems like that's my people, man. That's I feel like
the quality of the model build down there is great. I mean, all of them, and there's so many different. I mean, you don't have not heavy and just NASCAR. You got sports cars, you got Formula One cars, you got hot rods, prototypes, just all kinds of stuff. And then
and then I'll bring something of mine.
There you go, bring it. Yeah,
I actually got a car on the something that I pulled something out that I never finished. I'm finishing for the show. I hope to have
it. You better get working.
I better, man. Good thing it's already
painted. Before you know it.
Good thing it's already painted. I just got to detail up the engine and actually get it together, and it's done.
Yeah.
That's what I say. I hope.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Dan, before we get done with this, we're kind of doing this this whole show backwards. Usually I begin with this part, but what I'd like to do is I'd like you to tell everyone about what got you into model cars and
What
when
got
you
me in the
start. And
well,
I know what got you into it, but what got you into it?
my dad got me into it. I guess at probably 5 or 6 years old. My first kit I think that I remember putting together was the old rubber band powered Hawk salt flat cars. That was the first thing where you sit there and twirl it and then go and all that stuff. And then I guess that model car was, but I got into slot cars more or less because he had an old Strombecker set that he used to set up, and used to play with that. And then, of course, one of the first times I remember going and purchasing model cars, not me myself purchasing, but my dad. There was hills here in Christiansburg on top of the hill, and they had all of their 68 NPC kits, model kits, not just NPC, but AMT, on sale for $1. He bought two of the 68 Corvettes and, two of the Cornettes, 68 Dodge Cornettes, which are worth a fortune.
Yeah.
And he bought like two Mahlbacher Getaway Specials, that were on sale for $1. He had a whole buggy full of them. So I'm like, it's a kid's, but over the years, he doled them out one at a time to me. And I still have a few of them. A lot of them gone the way of destruction and stuff. So I still have one of the NPC Cornettes and stuff like that. But my dad, of course, he used to race slot cars in Blacksburg because they had one of the big commercial tracks there in Blacksburg years ago. I never did see it. It was before my time, but Dad was always into something with the models and stuff, and not into it anymore. He joined the IPMS club about 10 years ago, and he used to come with me. I think he just liked to come and talk to the guys and stuff like that. But Dad was the main person that got me into models, and of course my cousin Earl, he was like 3 or 4 years older than me, but he had all the cool models and the big display shelf, with all the crazy customs of the late 60s and early 70s, Tom Daniel and stuff like that. So that's what got me into models. I got out of it for a while, but I've always kept at least a box full of unbuilts somewhere. And when I moved to New York, I took some with me and actually built some. But it was a little lighter in later years, and then of course, here in the 90s and 2000s and stuff, don't build as much, but I collect a lot.
Yeah.
With anticipation of building them, I'm going to build this version, this version, this a color and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the people that you meet in this hobby, not unlike full-size cars and stuff like that, you meet a bunch of great people. And a lot of them that I've met back 20, 30, 40 years ago are still great friends to this day, and I still stay in contact with them. You're one of them too, where we've, what has been 30 some years since you've been out here. So
yeah, the thing about it is you say the model cars creates these great friendships, and it was model cars that brought us together in a way, because I started talking to Mark Agee. It was because we built NASCAR models. I wanted to buy some photographs from him, and I got talking to him just because I want to move out there. So him and I got jaw jacking a whole bunch. I spent a lot of money on phone calls to that guy, and he invited me to stay with him for a week so I could come out there to see if that's where I want to be and move to. And he introduced me to you, and why you guys were friends was because of model cars. So really it was model cars why you and I met. You were a model builder, so obviously we're going to hang out. And when I got moved out there, you were my boss, but we just hit it off great because of the model cars. And then we only were off on Sundays. So what did we do on Sundays? Roll on over to Wes's. Hillsville.
That's another Wes.
Wes. Man, we know Wes from the old days
the Hobby Hut days.
Yeah, when the two of them had.
Wes, another great guy.
It's still great. I love what's going on with Wes, man.
A lot of guys from out here in the East Coast remember Hillsville is a big place where they have the flea markets and stuff. But we used to, Wes, it was me, Wes, and Lisa, and George Spangler, and a couple other guys that used to be part of the model car club out there. The Hillbilly Model Car Club. That's what it was called.
Wasn't that the club that we all Wes did it? Wes and Lisa did it in the back.
In the back of their little store.
We were all at the very first.
That was the very first one, and then Wes got the VFW hall down the street, and we had what was called the Grand Fun One. Grand Fun One, and I think about 4 of those shows, and I think they were
great.
They were great shows.
That first one was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. You pulled a lot of guys from down in other states and stuff like that. The last year that it happened, the VFW, the night before we were supposed to have our show, the night they pulled us because they said we couldn't have the show there because they had the Vietnam traveling wall, and it was set up on the property, and you couldn't have any kind of other events when that was set up. So we had to scramble. Wes scrambled around and got a local bar, and we ended up having a show in a bar. It worked great. I mean, everybody followed the signs to it, but that was kind of I think that was kind of the end of that. It just kind of wore Wes out. Yeah. And he was doing a lot of it. I mean, I was too far away to, as far as getting sponsorships and stuff. He was probably he worked his butt.
That was his gig, man. He was busting his butt to get that to happen.
Yeah, it was a great show.
What was the name of that club again? You just said it.
Hillbilly Model Car Club. That's what it was. I remember doing a flyer or something
back in the day. So, you and I were going to we were in 3 model car clubs. We had our Ridge Runners,
yeah,
and we had
Hillbillies,
and there was something else we were doing.
I don't remember we had anything else. I think it was 2 because we were rolling.
Oh, we were always going to model.
We were rolling around. Oh, you know what it was? It was the Stock Car Model Builders Association.
Oh, yeah.
That was the main club in Roanoke, and Ray Denny and Mark and NASCAR guys. And then we
over at the collector box, right?
Yeah, the collector box. And we wanted to split off and do other cars, all cars, and a lot of guys just wanted to do NASCAR, so that's when that split off. So
so that's where
there were 3 clubs.
That's right. And they were all at a hobby shop because we had over at Ronnie's
Crossroads
Hobbies in Salem, and then they were at the collector box. Was that
and then the Hillbilly was up
in Hillsville.
Yeah. So we had a lot of clubs around one time. It was a
bunch of in the hills, little towns, man. There were a whole bunch of model car builders and all these car clubs, and we were going to shows almost every weekend, big or small, it didn't matter. It was
like when you're talking about talking to Mark Batts and talking about that AMS National Convention at Charlotte.
Yeah, and there was
that was a blast.
That was the greatest show. I think probably one of my favorite memory of greatest model car show I ever went to. That was a good. Okay, so we go there, all these great modelers. It was at Charlotte Motor Speedway up in the suite or what?
In the suite, yeah.
It was a beautiful setup, beautiful. How about that? And you and I were selling stuff there, and didn't we? And I turned around and Buddy Baker.
He was a big dude.
Don't I have a Baker car here?
Yeah. That was one of the best shows.
And then we went down. That was when we got to ride around the track and the school.
Yeah, you did that. Not
didn't you do it?
No, I didn't do it. I didn't do it that year.
I did it.
You wanted so bad, and
the whole time.
I said, "Here, take the money. We sold some stuff." I said, "Take money, go do it." I think it was like $20 or something like that.
Something like that.
But
I yelled and screamed all the way around. It was the greatest thing. I'll never forget.
How fast did they get you up to on that?
I want to say, I think it was around the 160 mark or something.
Probably so, yeah.
Full race speed. But it was as fast as the school cars could go. We got it as fast as the school cars could go, which is, let me tell you, you're not going to tell no difference between 150 and 200 miles an hour. When
actually
Charlotte Motor Speedway looks like a quarter mile short track.
Yeah.
You come out of coming out of turn 2, all you see, it doesn't feel like
you got to be looking up up the windshield.
From the passenger side of the car, all you see is like a wall of asphalt.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're still sitting flat. And then you get down and you start at one end of the straightaway, and boom, you're at the other end like that. It doesn't seem like that big of a track when you're in the car.
Yeah.
Most amazing experience, but that just made that whole show was just so much fun.
It was a good show. Yeah.
It's fun.
Another show. Did you ever go to the Road Nights show in Charlotte?
No, I didn't. No.
I think that was afterwards. The Road Nights, first show I went with them was back in 1988. I got a Best Paint Award, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever I could ever do.
Yeah.
I was still to death. And I used to go to that show all the time. That was, the road, it was the, the Road Nights.
Road Nights.
They had a hell of a club, and then they just disbanded over, inter club quarrels and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that was a big show, and then Kenny Shores kind of took the Carolina Custom Modelers and started the show up there. It's in hell, and of course he didn't have it this year, so it's coming back next year. So it's going to be good in August. So that's always a great show. It's a lot of fun.
I remember at the AMS show there at Charlie Motor Speedway was a lot of those road night. I remember seeing all the road night. Weren't they the club that kind of helped out, or
they were the host club at that year, and there was a lot of problems after that show with
really?
The way Charlotte had billed them and stuff like that.
I remember that's where I met Dave Van. Was one of the
Dave Van, yeah.
He lived there. That's when I met Dave.
Yeah, there was a lot. They had a lot of guys and a lot of of course I still see George Henry and stuff. He was one of the main ones.
Yeah, that name's. You keep saying George Henry. I'm sure I met him.
Yeah, I don't know if you met him. He worked for Hess Race Cars, and he did a lot. He's had a lot of models in magazines and stuff like that. And, he goes to Atlanta. He like I said, he does the trophies for me usually each year for the best of show, and he always fabricates something. You'll see in the pictures if you go online. But he was one of the main members of Road Nights, and he was the guy. He got Augie Hascano to come and demonstrate. He was working for Shoreline Lathes at the time. Milling machine and lathes, and he had a little demo area set up like that. And that was just cool as crap because I got to talk to him and got an autographed picture and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. And
that was
the Road Night show was a great show, and I hated to see it.
Trying to hide behind you.
Who is that? That's my wife. She's my sidekick when it comes.
Bring
ice cream sandwich. I'll get it later. She's trying to bribe me out of here. With ice cream
we're almost.
That's Cheryl, my wife. She's great. She supports the MDA. She does the registration along with a couple other people. And she's right there. She's my right-hand woman, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I know. She's been for years and telling me stories of how he got. That's your new rolling partner, man. I had to.
Well, she enjoys all the racing, the drag racing. I took her to her first drag race, and of course, I took them. When you go in drags, in your pits, you got to show everybody, when they start them up. I tried to tell her. I said, no. She was standing at one corner. I said, no, come over here. This is the place to watch. I said, no, all these people will be gone in just a few seconds once they fire up. Come over here and stand with me.
Yeah.
So, of course, when they fire them up, all the wind's blowing to them. People were gagging and covering their face and stuff.
Man, when we'd always do that, we'd stand there. It don't bother me none.
Yeah, never covered my ears. No, I'm paying for it because I got a constant ringing in my ears now.
Yeah,
you don't. Breathe in that burning rubber and nitromethane, boy. That's
the greatest thing. Yeah, the greatest thing. Yeah. Well, Dennis, I tell you, it's getting late for you over there. We'll let you go, but there's a couple things we got to quick cover. One, I'm going to have you back on.
Okay.
Dennis and I got a little bit of.
Yeah, we got to talk about the no sweeps rule. The no
Yeah,
sweeps rule.
he's my counterpart, guys. So you guys keep mad at me and wanting to slug me in the chops about this no sweeps.
I'll be the one doing it.
He's gonna do it to me. Yeah, he's
That's
got
right.
me.
I'm going to tell you why you're wrong over there.
He's gonna tell me how I'm wrong, and I'm gonna
You're
explain
wrong.
to him how I'm completely right. And then, but
Yeah.
when it's over with and the smoke clears, we'll probably disagree and all that. No, but
You'll see
it's
my-
good. We'll get some good points out here. This is a good. It would be a
That's
great
right. Yeah,
conversation.
that's a good point. So I've got
Well-
my points.
We'll probably do that in a couple weeks, but I wanted you guys to meet him. Great person, great friend of mine. Always been dear to my heart. It's kind of funny, you know, we only spent a short time in our lives together, but I feel like I've known you for 30 some odd years. I am real excited now that I've locked it down that I am coming out there. I can't wait
All right.
for us to hang out, and
Only 6 months away. So
Oh,
it's,
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be so much fun. And
Yeah.
well, you got to know what I ask of my guests. You ready
Keep-
for it?
Keep cutting that styrene. Keep gluing them fingers together.
Oh, you did it backwards.
You got to cut the styrene first, then you glue the fingers.
You got to glue the fingers first. Then you got the
glue the fingers
styrene.
first, and cut that styrene over there, because that's the way it's supposed to be done.
That's right. You got it right. Joey Buttafuoco over there.
So about to go over there, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Budge Dennis. This was a blast.
All right, man. It has been
Guys, in the
fun.
next video, you know what time it is? It's time to see the producers.